Hello everyone. Welcome back to the another video class of Python programming. So today we are going to cover some more practical example concepts. Okay, especially we try to cover data encryption concepts in this session. Okay, so for that we need to know some basics regarding strings concept. Okay, already we have learned strings concept in the previous classes, but in this class also I'll try to recall some of the concepts of the strings, and then we go back and check what is a use of an data encryption and how can we perform data encryption in Python programming. Okay, so without wasting the time, let's start with the session. So here are the contents that we are going to cover in this session, that is strings concept. Again, we'll start with the basics of strings, how can we store the strings and how can we access the strings. Okay, and some of the concepts of substrings, that means how can we find out the substring within a string, and then we go with the concept of data encryption. Okay, so let's move on to defining the strings. So basically string is nothing but a sequence of characters. We know that normally any name or any identifier or any names of the variables, okay, all these can be given as strings, or otherwise we'll give an alphabet. Okay, so a single letter is called as an alphabet, and if at all we have the multiple characters or the multiple alphabets combined together is called as a string. Okay, so in that context we call generally string is a sequence of characters. Okay, our names are nothing but strings because in our name we have different combination of letters, so all the letters are combinedly together we call it as a string. Okay, so but in especially Python, strings can be stored in two ways. Okay, either I can store the strings in between the double quotations, or the strings can be stored in between the single quotations. Okay, so that is what the different thing in Python, other than other programming languages. The thing which is different with the strings, especially in Python, is we can store the string in between either single quotations or double quotations. Okay, so both will give the same result. There is nothing difference. Okay, so that is what the point you need to observe while we are storing the strings. Okay, so here are some of the examples I have tried to show on this left hand side box. Okay, so there is a declaration of strings. Suppose I am taking a variable called myString is equal to, and I am enclosing in double quotations, I am writing something which is called as this is not my first string. Okay, so I am enclosed between double quotations. I have written something, a word or a sentence in between the double quotations. Okay, I can do this by writing in between single quotations also. You need to observe this point. Okay, both are same. If I enclosed the string in between single quotations or in double quotations, both will give the same result. Okay, now if I want to print my string, okay, print off my string, I should directly write print off my string, then it will give the total entire string, whatever the string I have assigned to that my string variable, that will be displayed on the result. Okay, which is a common thing, already we have learned about this. Okay, so again I am telling you that we are repeating the basics again, strings. Okay, why? Because these are the foundation things for understanding the data encryption concepts. Okay, generally we call it as a cryptography concept. If you want to learn more about cryptographic concepts and do programming in cryptography, then we need to understand these basics of Python programming, and especially we need to understand these strings concept, how we are manipulating the strings, and how we can use strings in Python. Okay, now if I want to print my string of 0, what is meant by my string of 0? That means I am calling the first index value. So whenever this string is stored, what happens is the total string will be allocated in some boxes. which I have shown in the earlier concepts. Okay, so T will be stored in some particular box and H will be stored in some particular box, I is stored in some particular box. Like that, this entire string will be divided into some characters and stored at some locations inside the computer. Okay, and the first letter will have an index 0, like in arrays. The first letter will have an index 0, then second letter will have an index 1, okay, then third, fourth, fifth, okay, like that all the letters will be stored at some index levels. So always remember that in strings also it will be divided like as an arrays. The basic allocation or the basic memory allocation of the strings already I have shown in some other sections. That is, it will be stored in some particular locations. Each and every letter will be stored at some particular location, and the first value should be stored at the index value 0. Okay, so when I try to print my string of 0, that means I am accessing the first letter of string. So what is the first letter of string? I have a letter called T, so that is what I have printed here. So when you observe the output, T letter will be printed. Why? Because I have called my string of 0. That means I want to access the first index of the string. First index in the sense it is stored at the index value 0. Okay, so first location, right? And print my string of -1. -1 is nothing but it is the reverse ordering of that string. Okay, so I told you while we are dealing with the strings concept, there is a two types of indexing that we are following while storing the strings. One is positive indexing, second one is negative indexing. In positive indexing, the values always starts with 0 to until how many letters that we have, until that letter. Whereas the negative indexing will starts with -1. Okay, so G will be stored at -1, N will be stored at -2, I will be stored at -3, R will be stored at -4. Like that, we'll try to store the values. Okay, so when I try to print my string of -1, what is the answer? Obviously, at -1 index, G is stored. Okay, so the letter G in string, that will be printed, right? So that is what the basic declaration, and how can we access with the help of indexing values. Next, string concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but what? Combining two strings. So in Python, when you want to combine two strings, you need to use an operator called plus operator. So you can see here, print hello plus world. So you have done nothing, simply you are adding two strings. First string is hello, which is enclosed between double quotations, and the second string is world, which is enclosed between double quotations. So if you want to print as a single word, this hello and world as a single word, you can use plus operator in between. So you can get the output like hello world, right? So that is what we call it as a string concatenation. And there is some more other related to string concatenation is multiple string concatenations. I can add 2 or 3 strings at a time. Okay, so there is a string s1. So there is a variable s1. In that variable, I have stored a string called name Python. There is a variable s2. In that, I have stored a string called had been adapted. The third variable s3. In that variable, I have stored from Monty Python. Okay, so there are 3 strings which are stored at some 3 different variables, s1, s2 and s3. If you want to combinedly print all these 3 strings in a single sentence, then we can do this. Print s1 plus s2 plus s3. I can write like this. Okay, ma? So print s1 plus s2 plus s3. This will give you the combination of, that means the concatenation or the addition of all the 3 strings side by side. So name Python had been adapted from Monty Python. Okay, so that string will tells you that how the Python name has been derived for this programming language. There is a person called Monty Python. Okay, from that particular word Python has been derived. So multiple string concatenation can be done with this like this by using a plus operator in between the strings. Next, string repetition. That means you want to print the same string again and again. One thing is you can do multiple print statements. You can write multiple print statements. Suppose there is some there is a text, there is a letter, there is a word called text. I want to print that text some particular number of times. One of the possibility is I can write multiple print statement. So one of the possibility that is you can write multiple print statements. Print text, print text, print text, print text, like that. I can write 5 statements. Okay, but there also something shortcut is there to print this text string for n number of times. How many that is it depends on how many number of times you want to print on that screen is. It's simply you need to write a statement print. In that, try to give the string in between double quotations, whatever the string you want to print, and give an asterisk symbol into and write n. N is nothing but the number of times you want to print. Okay, suppose if at all you want to print this text message 10 times, you can give n 10 here. So obviously it will print text like that. In a single sentence, that text statement will be printed 10 times. Okay, so you try to understand this, a small code we have written. So first of all, I am writing an n variable is equal to input of number of times that you want to repeat. Okay, that means it is asking from the user to enter how many number of times that you want to print that particular text on the screen. Okay, so now you will give some number. That number will be stored in n. Okay, it is like a printf statement, I told you already. So it is like a printf statement in other programming languages. Similarly, here in Python we need to write input. Okay, so input of number of times that you want to repeat the text. If you will give some number, that number will be stored in n. Okay, then what you need to do is you have to write print, then whatever the text you want to print on the screen, that should be given first into n. Okay, that means the number that we have stored in n. So here we have taken 5. So the output we have printed is text, 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 and text. 5 times the text message is printed. Suppose you are giving some other sentence other than text. You want to print some KHIT CSC. Okay, so what happens here? Obviously, instead of this text message, what happens is KHIT CSC. This will be printed 5 times. Okay, like this. Okay, hope you understand this. So this is what we call as a string repetition. Next, finding a substring in a string. That means you want to find whether a particular word is exist in that string or not. Okay, a particular word exists in that string or not. We can do this by using a membership operator called as an in. In Python, there is a membership operator. There are 2 membership operators in Python. One is in and second one is not in. In is nothing but it will check whether a particular word exists in that particular sentence or not. Okay, not in means it will again check whether that name exists in that or not. Okay, it will give false if at all you are writing a statement which already exists in that. Okay, so when you can see here there is a sentence called India won the match. So there is a sentence called India won the match. So in this sentence there are 4 words. One is India, second one is won, the third one is the, and the last one is match. Now I want to check one. That means one is a word. So this word is there in that sentence or not. So what should I write a statement? First of all, what is the word that you want to search? That should be written, and then in operator. So in operator should be written, and then again what is the sentence in that you want to search a particular word, so that sentence should be defined. Okay, so one already there in that sentence, so you will get an answer as true. Okay, the same sentence if you use not in, what the result you got is false, because one is a sentence which is already there in that particular sentence. Okay, but you said it is not in. Okay, so obviously what happens, it will get an answer, it will print an answer as false statement. Okay, so that is how we can check whether a particular string exists in the particular sentence or not. Okay, ma? So in and not in, so these are the two different operators with which we can search for a particular substring in a string. Okay, next, so these are all some basics which are required for moving forward. Why? Because so from this slide we are going to learn about the concept called data encryption, okay, or cryptography. There are some different technical words I am talking about. Okay, so I'll try to make you very simple that what these are the terms are referred to, and how this can be happened with the Python. So for doing this kind of data encryption and cryptography, the basic requirement is you need to good with strings concept. So that's why we have concentrated again on strings concept. Once again we have recalled all the basics of the strings concept. Okay, now what is an data encryption? So in this slide you try to see so many different words which are new to you: data encryption, cryptography. Okay, so there is a different sections called plain text, ciphertext, encryption, decryption. Okay, a lot of different technical terms are there which are already which are related to each other. Okay, so basically cryptography is a concept which provides a security for any kind of information. See, generally in internet we try to use so much of data. Okay, we are giving some usernames and passwords for the websites. Okay, and again we are typing some different pin numbers for banking transactions, and you are exchanging a WhatsApp messages between your groups and between the friends, right? So there are a lot of data has been exchanging in between the internet, between so many people. Okay, so cryptography is such a kind of mechanism is whatever the information that we are passing between two persons, that should be kept as a secret. Okay, otherwise, see, generally how the information is transferred from one system to other system, or from one mobile to other mobile, based on some packets. Okay, suppose I have sent hi to you. Okay, so whatever the message I have sent to you, that should be in the encrypted form. That means encryption is nothing but we have to convert that message into some other format which is not understandable by the third person. Okay, so if anyone want to see the conversation between you and some other person, even though he get the data from any kind of other source, but he should not be able to understand what the information that you are going to the two persons has talked about, or the conversation between those two persons. Okay, so that means how can we do that is we convert the messages, whatever the messages we are transferring between two parties, we convert that message into some other format which is not understandable by any third person. Okay, so this is what we call it as a cryptography. So as you can see the definition, see this again, this cryptography, data encryption, this all can be again explained to you in some other subjects called computer networks. Okay, but as if now it is there for you to understand, there is a syllabus for you. Okay, so how can we write the cryptography problems, especially in Python? So there is a section for you. So for that I am trying to explain about what are the basics of this cryptography and everything. Okay, so what is the definition of a cryptography? It is an art of communication between two users via coded messages. What is coded messages? That means that whatever the message you have sent to your friend, that message will be encrypted. Encrypted means what? Converting the message into some other format which is not understandable by any other third person. Okay, and while at the receiver side there is a process of decryption. Decryption means what? That converted message will be again converted into some user understandable format. Okay, suppose I have sent hi to you. That hi is converted into some code which is some XY23. Okay, and this message has been sent to your friend. Okay, so my friend will not understand what is this XY23. What happens? Because this message has been converted into some other format, so my friend cannot be able to understand what is this XY23. What I want to trying to tell him is he doesn't understand. So what should happen is at the receiver end there should be an other process called decryption. So what that person will try to do is convert this XY23 into some machine human understandable format. Okay, so again that process is called as a decryption. Okay, after the decryption, so he will understand that I have sent a message hi to him, right ma? So this is what the process of cryptography generally we call it as an. Okay, so in cryptography we use different kinds of words: plain text, ciphertext, encryption and decryption. Plain text is nothing but a text which is normally understandable by any other person. Okay, so whoever can see that text, he can able to understand that it is a general English sentence which have some information. Okay, suppose I have sent a message to you, please come to my room, or please come to the classroom. Okay, so that sentence is written in English and which is easily understandable by any other person. Okay, whoever can see that message, he can able to understand that okay, sir is calling to the classroom, so we have a session here, so a session in the class, right ma? So that is called as a plain text. The ciphertext is nothing but we are converting this plain text into some different format which is not understandable by any other person. Whoever can see that message, he cannot able to understand what that message contains because it is a coded message. It has some code inserted into that. Okay, so we have converted that plain text into some different format of text which is not understandable by the normal human person. That message is called as a ciphertext. Try to understand. That message is called as a ciphertext, which is not understandable by human persons, right? Next, encryption. What is this encryption? Is the process of converting plain text into ciphertext is called as an encryption. Decryption means converting again back your ciphertext into plain text is called as an decryption. WhatsApp is also having some encryption and decryption mechanisms. Okay, it is there in your mobile devices, the process of encryption and decryption. Okay, so whatever the message you are typing at your side, you can see that particular message, but while transferring that message into the internet will change that message into some other format which is not understandable by the normal persons. Okay, so each and every software, that means this message sending softwares like your WhatsApp and other different kind of communication softwares, all these follow this different kind of process. Okay, so encryption and decryption, right? So then how can we convert, sir? How can we convert this plain text into ciphertext and again ciphertext into plain text? Okay, so there should be some proper mechanism to convert plain text into ciphertext, right? So that is the mechanisms that we are going to learn in the next slides. So you can see here what happens. You are sending a plain text to a other person. So when we send the plain text, encryption will happens. Here encryption process will happens, and that message will be reached to the other person as ciphertext. Okay, and at the other person side, that ciphertext will be applied with a decryption process, and again he will convert that message into plain text because he want to read the contents. So he cannot understand the ciphertext, right? So that message again will be converted into plain text. So this is the process happens at both the ends. Each and every person mobile has a process of encryption and decryption. Not only a mobile, any system. Okay, whether it may be a WhatsApp, or you're using a mobile device, or you're using any pager, or you're using any internet devices, okay, or the computers. So all different kinds of devices. So this process of encryption and decryption will happens. Okay, so what if this process happens? That means I am telling about encryption and decryption. Okay, I'm talking about some process. What is that process is? You can see the second statement. It uses some mathematical algorithms for securing the information. Okay, so for the security purpose, some mathematical algorithms will be used to convert the plain text into some ciphertext. Okay, ma? So that is what the main concept of this cryptography is. After applying that mathematical algorithm, now it will convert again into some bit of sequences. Okay, because ultimately the machine understands only ones and zeros. So whatever the algorithm you are applying on the plain text, that means whether whatever the algorithm, the algorithms that we are going to learn in the next slides. Okay, so any algorithm can be applied on this plain text. Ultimately that plain text has to be again converted into some ones and zeros. Okay, so that is the process happens. So why we are doing all these things is for the security purpose. Okay, so the information will be stored at some security purpose, and both the parties has to be interested in that secure communication channel. Okay, suppose I am sending a message through WhatsApp to you. Okay, so what is the channel that we are using? Both we are using a WhatsApp medium. Okay, WhatsApp is an application with which we are trying to send the information and receive the information. Okay, so but this information is converted into some other format, secured format. Okay, so that is how we are providing the security. Why? Because whatever the messages we are sending and receiving, it can be used for wrongly purpose by the WhatsApp company. Okay, or the company which owns WhatsApp is Facebook, right? So he can misuse our information. It's already happening in the society, but still in spite of following all these mechanisms, still there is a loopholes in the system. Okay, so still there is people who can hack our information, and who can use a different sort of hacking mechanisms to get the information. Okay, so that cannot be solved, right? Why? Because internet is such a huge thing. There is one or the other, we have some loopholes in the systems. Okay, so there are so many different softwares which can break the firewalls and get the information from our systems. Okay, so nobody can stop that. That's another issue. But from our end, if you want to provide security, so we can follow some of these secure channels. Okay, now in the next section we are going to learn about how this plain text is converted into a ciphertext. Okay, so I hope you understand what are the plain text and ciphertext. Plain text is nothing but a text which is normally readable and understandable by a human. Okay, whereas ciphertext is a thing which is not understandable by a human. Okay, so it can be understandable by a software itself or a machine itself, right? So now there are some algorithms in Python which you can convert this plain text into ciphertext. Okay, so let's see what are those particular algorithms. So among those, the first algorithm is reverse cipher. So reverse cipher is nothing but whatever the plain text that we are trying to send the information, that will be converted into reverse order. Okay, suppose you can see here, hello is there. So hello will be converted. So hello is converted into the reverse order of the hello. That means OLLEH. Okay, so this is how we can convert the normal message into ciphertext. Simply the reverse thing. Okay, that means we are converting the string into some reverse order. Okay, so this is one of the method. Okay, I don't know that whether it is secure or not, or is it recommendable or not. We don't know all these things, but there is a method called reverse cipher which can reverse the contents of the string. Okay, so while at the receiver side, again the person will decrypt the message. Okay, so when he want to understand what is the message you have sent, what he need to do is he need to understand, he need to read that from the reverse order again. So when he read again in the reverse order, he will understand that, okay, hello has been sent to me, right? So the reverse cipher uses a pattern of reversing the string of a plain text to convert as a ciphertext. Okay, so the process of encryption and decryption is both are same. While converting encryption, you will send the reverse order, while in decryption process, again he will try to read from it reverse. Okay, so when OLLEH can be read in reverse, what the information he get? HELLO again, right? So he'll get the plain text again. So that is how we need to convert the cipher, that means normal plain text into reverse cipher. How can this can be implemented with a program? Okay, so you can see a program can be implemented. Suppose there is a variable message I have taken. In that variable I have written a sentence which is called, this is a program to explain reverse cipher. Okay, so this is what the total entire string I need to convert. Okay, now so now I have taken another variable called translated. Okay, so translated, in that I am placing only space. That means I am not giving any I am not storing anything in that. Simply I am leaving it as a none. Okay, I am not storing anything, because this message, the entire message has to be converted into reverse order, and that reverse order will be stored in translated. Okay, ma? So hope you understood. So this is the actual message. Now I need to convert this actual message into reverse order, and that reverse order will be stored in translated, this variable. Okay, so how can I perform this function? How can I perform this program is, I am taking a I variable. So what happens, what should I do is, first of all I have to store this entire sentence into a system. So first while I am storing the entire statement in a system, it will be stored at some index values. So T will be at 0 index, H will be at 1 index, I will be at 2 index, like that each and everything will be stored at some index. Okay, what I need to do is, I need to first go through the last statement, that means last letter. What is the last letter? R. Okay, and dot also. Dot is also there. I need to store the dot also. So dot is the last letter. Now I need to store this dot in the first location of this message. Okay, this variable. Okay, so what I need to store is first here dot, next R, next E, next H, okay, next P, again I, C, okay, again now space, again E, S, R, right? Are you getting the point? So this is how I need to store the sentence. So for doing this, what I need to write a logic is, I have to take a I variable and I need to find the length of the message. That means the total length of the message. What is the length of the message? How many words, how many letters that we have in this particular length of the message. Okay, so that can be done with the help of a function called length. There is a function called len. Len is a function which will give the length of the message. Okay, so len in the bracket, what I'm giving is a variable, because in this variable this total entire thing has been stored. So length of message minus 1. Why I am taking minus 1 is because index starts with 0, right? So 0 to some 24 letters has been stored. Let us suppose that. Okay, so 0 to 24 means what is the length of the string? Actually 23 letters, but index will starts from 0, right? So that's why we are getting 24, right ma? So length of the message minus 1. Now what I am writing, I am writing a while loop while I greater than or equal to 0. Okay, while I greater than or equal to 0, what I am doing is I am concatenating the message of I. What is message of I contains? See, initially now I contains what? How many letters that we have in this particular message? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Sorry, you need to write, you need to calculate the spaces also. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 7 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 42. So what is message of 42? Message of 42 contains dot. That dot has to be translated, and that means that dot has to be concatenated to translated message. So I need to store dot in translated. Okay, first. Now I is equal to I minus 1. Now 42 becomes 41. Okay. Now again message of 41. What is message of 41? R. That R will be concatenated to translated. Like that, each and every letter will be stored in translated. Okay. So now where is your result? Your result is stored in translated. Now I am printing that the ciphertext is. So the ciphertext is comma translated. So this translated is nothing but that is the result contains. So this is the variable where our result is stored. Okay. So simply I am translating all the, I am finding our result in translated message. So now when you execute this statement, you will get the answer as the reverse order of what is the statement here. Okay. So this is this is programmed to explain reverse cipher. So this entire string will be reversed and displayed on the string. Okay. So when you want to see the output of this in a real time, I can show it in Spider software. So you can see I have written a program here. So this is the first section of the program. So when you execute this program, on the right hand side you can able to see the ciphertext is okay dot rehic space esrevr. Okay, so the entire string, whatever the string we have taken, that is converted into a reverse order. Okay ma? So this is how I can execute the program in Spider. Right. So that is one of the technique, okay, one of the method where we convert our plain text into ciphertext, which is called as the reverse cipher. So what is the reverse cipher? The basic concept of the reverse cipher is simply reversing the contents of your string. So for that, what you need to write the program is this one. Okay. Next. So there are some more other techniques also, okay, which I will explain in the next classes. Okay, thank you. So there is some more process, some more other techniques called Caesar cipher and RTO13. Okay, RTO13 and Caesar cipher is there. So both are which are also very useful mechanisms to convert your plain text into ciphertext. So that I'll explain in the next classes, right? Thank you.